What's up, guys? Justin here with TheSketchUpEssentials.com. So in today's video, we're going to talk about 4 ways you should be using AI in your 3D work starting today. Let's go ahead and just jump into it. By the way, stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to show you something that's really cool for creating awesome 3D models that you can actually use inside of SketchUp or any other engine. Okay, so one of the things that a lot of people do know about right now when it comes to using AI in 3D is using it for rendering and ideation. It's super valuable for taking things like this blocky model and visualizing what it could look like. So this is SketchUp Diffusion, which is SketchUp's AI visualization tool. It's an extension that you can download and install in SketchUp, but basically the way this works is you can pick a style, you can describe the image that you want to create. So in this case, we're going to say farmhouse in a field. You can click on the generate button and it'll generate an image using your geometry right here to fit your prompt. Now, one of the things while we wait, because this takes a second, is your prompts are really going to drive the way that this looks, right? And right now I've not given this very much to go off of. So we'll get an image and it'll be good, but it won't be great. And so if I look at these images, you can see that it's taken what I gave it and it's generating a farmhouse based on the description that I gave it. And these images actually look really good right now. I mean, obviously there's nothing here. I haven't given it any windows or anything like that, but these are pretty good results. One of the things I recommend though is when you're generating renderings or these, I don't really consider these renderings. I consider these like ideas of how something might look. But one of the things I recommend is using something like ChatGPT to write your prompts. And so we'll talk more about ChatGPT in a second, but in this case for ChatGPT, I'm just going to say, give me a prompt for SketchUp Diffusion to generate a rendering of a block diagram in a farmhouse style. So what it'll do is it'll go through and it'll write the prompt. And this was one of the best things I took out of the Brightman SketchUp Summit. Let AI talk to AI. So my prompt was obviously not very good. This prompt is excellent. It talks about the lighting. It talks about what the materials should be, other things like that. Well, if I take this, drop it into Diffusion, I'm going to refresh my input view and I'm going to regenerate this. We're going to get a much more dialed in image. Well, if I scroll down, notice how these results, while not perfect, obviously, because it does some weird stuff in here, these results are significantly, at least the first two, are significantly better than that last result. And they can do a pretty good job of giving me an idea of what something could look like. Now, one of the other places where I've been using this for ideation is just getting ideas for what different styles of homes might look like. And I've been using tools like Midjourney. And so what I've been doing, you can use Midjourney, you can actually use ChatGPT to generate images as well, but I've been using it to generate ideas of what different houses in different styles might look like. So in this case, right, I've got this farmhouse style and notice how depending on my prompt, it's giving me very realistic images. And so you can use this again to generate ideas of different conditions and things like that. Now, if you really zoom in on these images, you're going to notice they're not perfect, right? There's always something kind of weird with AI images, and that's okay if you're only using them to generate ideas in general. I'm going to show you something really cool that I did with this house at the end of the video, so make sure you stick around for that. Now, say that I was to render this house right here, even with a prompt that tells it to respect the model geometry, there are things that get changed about the way that your model comes together when you do create these renderings. So notice, for example, we've got some material changes and other things like that. So I don't recommend this as like a final rendering tool, but for ideation and figuring out what things could look like, it's actually getting really interesting and really powerful. And so another area where we're seeing a lot of development is in the realm of not only generating textures, but also generating PBR maps. And so one of the areas that is still frustrating is, say that you have a material that you took off of a manufacturer website and all you have is just a snip of the material. The issue is, say that you were to apply this material right here, notice how that texture image isn't seamless. And so that's one of the problems that a lot of places are trying to solve right now. And SketchUp has tried to solve it by giving you this little button over in your materials. What this is going to do is it's going to do 2 things. It's going to A, try to make the texture material seamless. B, it's going to generate all of the PBR maps, which make your rendered materials look more realistic. So if we were to render this, for example, those materials are what's going to make this what's going to make this look reflective, or other things like that. Right, you can see kind of the reflection on the tile right here based on the background image. So if you click on this button for materials, or in the materials, what it's going to do is it's going to try to make it seamless. It's going to try to generate the PBR maps. Now, at the moment, the results on this can be a little bit sketchy. I mean, sometimes it does a really good job. Sometimes it does things like this, which is, yes, it generated those maps and the tile actually looks really good, but it changed the tile into something else. But the idea is that the tool is supposed to be able to take a material and make it seamless, which it did. It just made it into another material and generate those PBR maps. And so this is another area where I've been using Midjourney. And so what I want to do is, I've got my Midjourney open. I'm going to add that image. So I'm going to click and drag that tile image in right here. And we're going to use it as an image prompt. So we're going to select that image over here like this. And then I'm going to add a prompt describing the tile. And so again, I'm going to go over into ChatGPT and I'm going to say, I need a Midjourney prompt to generate a seamless texture based on this image. I'm going to drag the image into my ChatGPT right here. And I'm going to click on this button once it's done uploading, and it's going to give me a detailed prompt. Now notice with Midjourney, there's things that it adds in here like dash dash tile. What dash dash tile is going to do is it's going to make it seamless. But we're going to take this prompt, we're going to copy it into Midjourney right here, and we've got our image set right here, and we're going to click on the button right here in order to send this. What this is going to do is this is actually going to go through and it's going to use this image in order to generate seamless textures directly inside of Midjourney from this image. And you always got to wait till the Midjourney image is completely done before you judge the result that it's giving you, because it really kind of cleans them up in that last iteration right here. But it basically took that image and it generated a very similar tile. It's not exactly the same. I'm still waiting on something that'll do this exactly the same. But if I was to take this image, download it, and we're going to bring it into SketchUp. So we'll import this image as a texture and apply it to the surface. And I'm going to toggle rendered mode off because we don't really need that right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the material replacer extension from TomTom in order to replace this. But notice what this did is this actually created a seamless image in here, just like this. And we might want to make it a little bit bigger. So we might want this to be maybe like 4 feet or something like that. And we might want to make it a little bit bigger, like this. But notice how we were able to use AI to generate a seamless texture from a manufacturer model. It's definitely not perfect, but it gives you kind of an idea of the style. So there's a lot of tools being developed right now for images and textures. Okay, and so the third way that AI is extremely helpful right now is not even having anything to do with 3D, but more having to do with using something like a ChatGPT as an assistant. So I'm doing this all the time, and it really helps me organize my thoughts, but it also does a ton of other things as well. So people are using ChatGPT wrong. So in general, you shouldn't necessarily be using ChatGPT as like a search engine. What you should be doing instead is you should be asking it to help you do things and treating it like a reasonably intelligent assistant. And so one of the things that I'm really not good at, for example, is creating any kind of descriptions of anything. Like I'm not good at using words to describe things. So what I might do, and this is just like one of a billion ways you can use ChatGPT. It's definitely not like the only one or anything like that. But what I might do is say that I've got this building right here. I'm going to take an image of it, which is just a SketchUp model. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, can you please help me describe the visual style of this image? Question mark. And I'm just going to drag the image in like this. What it's going to do is it's going to analyze the image and it's going to give me a description of the style of this space right here. And so what it does is it goes through and it analyzes the materials that are in here. It talks about the signage. It talks about the lighting and the different parts and pieces in here. But it describes them in a way that helps you kind of like feel things. So like, for example, the playful mural style wall graphics on the left side, it kind of describes those things in that way. Now, let's say that I want to create a client pitch regarding this space. Usually what I will do is I don't like to just type in the prompt. I like to say, please give me a prompt that will help me generate a client pitch. And again, this is one of a billion things you can do with ChatGPT. So what it's going to do is it's going to write this prompt right here, like this. We can take that prompt, we can paste it back in, and it's going to go through and it's going to actually generate the client pitch like this. Now, I am not saying to use this to replace your critical thinking or anything like that, but for me, getting the initial organization set up and then kind of making adjustments using ChatGPT is super valuable, right? So it's going to talk about design concepts and material and layout. Even if you took this general framework, you could use it in order to build something out for yourself. And one of the things that I find especially helpful, and I actually used this when I analyzed all the survey responses that I got, is if you go into your tools, there's an option for deep research. And so one of the things where this is really powerful is if you use the deep research, what it's going to do is it's going to go through and it's going to do an in-depth analysis of the data that you give it, right? So when I did my SketchUp poll, I basically told it to analyze the data set from that poll and actually give me summaries and data analysis around this. So it was able to go through and it was able to summarize things like what industry people were working in, usage frequency, other things like that, and actually help me kind of like figure out what the most important things were based on those survey results. And so a lot of that data, for example, was typed in as fields rather than as kind of like votes or anything like that. And so it was able to actually summarize those results and find recurring themes in there and give them back to me in an easily digestible fashion. So I use this a lot for if I have a ton of data on something, I'll use the deep research in order to analyze it in a way that I can actually understand. So there's a bunch of different things you can do with ChatGPT, but one of the most valuable things you can do is just say, hey, I want to do this. Give me a prompt that will help me do that, and then use that prompt in order to get it to help you out. So I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below what some of the things you are doing with ChatGPT or other engines like that. Okay, and then finally, and this is a very much a developing field, but people are starting to use AI in order to generate 3D models. And so there's a bunch of different tools that you can use in order to generate 3D models. The one I've been messing around with lately is Meshy.AI, but there's a bunch of others out there as well. But basically what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to generate models based on descriptions that you give it. And so in this case, and this is what I wanted to show you, if you remember that image that I generated in Midjourney, which is this one right here, I took this image, and because this is an imaginary house, right? It's only created using, I think it's diffusion style images. I'm not 100% sure on Midjourney, but it's basically just generating an image of what a house might look like. But I have no data whatsoever on what the back of the house would look like or anything like that. Well, what I was able to do is I was actually able to feed that image into this tool, and it actually generated a 3D model of the building for me. And so if you look at this model right here, it's not something that I could just like bring into SketchUp and use, right? Like you could use it in the background in order to generate an image or something like that. But what it did is it took that image and it generated not only the front side of a house, but also the back side. And what I was able to do from this is actually bring this into SketchUp and use the proportions of the model in order to start modeling something myself. So what this is really good for is this is really good for creating these kind of like high level models like this. And so this, I think, is where I see the real value in here is there's an image to 3D option. We'll look at another tool that does this as well. But let's say I was to pull an image off of like Wayfair. So I'm going to bring this image right here. And I'm going to go into Meshy.AI. I'm going to drag this in like this. It's going to figure out what this is, and we're going to generate a preview version. But if we click on the option for generate right here, it's going to generate a task, and it's going to go through and it's going to try to generate 3D geometry based on that image. And while we wait, I'm going to do the same thing with the PolyCam tool. So PolyCam has a 3D model generator as well, and you can drag an image in like this. It's going to do the same thing. So it's going to process and it's going to try to generate a 3D model from this image. And so Meshy is still working. It's at like 50%. The PolyCam tool is working as well. But what these are going to do is they're going to go through and they're going to try to generate a 3D model based on that image, not only on the front side, but also on the back side. So this is where I find this really valuable, is not replacing the design process, but trying to use this to generate something like furniture so that you don't have to model it yourself. And so if we look at PolyCam, it actually came through and it modeled out a model of this chair right here. And so how closely does it match this chair? Actually fairly close. So that's pretty awesome. But you can take that image or that model and you can download it. So I'm going to download, I think a DAE will probably work fine. But then if you look at Meshy, it's doing the same thing. So if you click on this, notice how this actually generates multiple different images right here, and you can look at those and figure out which one fits your original image the best. So in this case, probably I'm leaning towards probably this first one, only due to the way it handles the kind of button over here. But now if I click on confirm, it's going to go through and it's going to generate a model based on that. And let's hop over into SketchUp real quick, and we can just import, and so we'll extract. So we'll extract that model, but I'm going to import it right here. We'll just bring this up like this. Whoops. And we're going to want to go ahead and we're going to want to soften those edges. But if I go down into soften edges right here, we'll soften all the coplanar. This has given me a perfectly functional version of that chair model that I can use in the background of my 3D space. And so like the fact that I didn't have to go in and model that myself. Now, I'm not sure how closely the back of this actually matches the front, but for any kind of like context modeling or anything like that, this is massively valuable. It's a huge step forward because I don't want to model furniture. I want to model spaces and then bring in everything else that I need in order to make that space look complete. And so we're almost done with the Meshy one. The Meshy one's a little bit more powerful because what it does is it gives you the ability to adjust things like the geometry that's created and other things like that. It is more credit-based, meaning there is a payment associated with that, which is something I kind of need to upgrade to, and I haven't gotten around to that yet. And so if we look at this image that was created by Meshy, you can see how this is even more detailed. So if we look at this, notice how it has much heavier polys in here, like this. Now, one of the cool things about this, though, is there is actually an option over here to remesh it. So if I click on remesh, notice what I can do is I can tell it to remesh this with quad topology instead of the triangle, and I can set the poly count that's in here. So that's basically setting the amount of polygons that are generated on this chair. But if I click on confirm, right here, it's going to go through and it's going to remesh this so that it has quad geometry, which basically means that the geometry of the chair is going to look significantly better. Okay, and so now this is done, but if you look at the way this cleaned up the geometry, like this is very clean geometry. So I'm really interested to see where this is going to go from a like remeshing standpoint. But if you look at the quality of the model this generated just from one image, so if we go back and look at our original image, this is like a very close chair right here. All right, so now I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. I'd love to hear about how you're using AI, how you feel about it. I just love having that conversation with you guys. I know some people aren't really that excited about this, while other people are super excited about it. One thing I will say is whether you like it or not, it's here. So it's at least good for you to understand what it can do, what the capabilities are, things like that. But love to hear from you in the comments down below. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks, guys.